What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. It's the 19th of December. Week 16 of this NFL regular season began last night. And, of course, as we get ready for the weekend, it's Ravens-Patriots, Sunday Night Football at the bank, and a game that, of course, Baltimore's got to have if it wants to continue to control its own destiny. Got a number of things to discuss. The guest lines are open if you want to share a thought. I have an active poll with 40-plus votes and counting. What's your biggest factor entering Patriots weekend? Is it running the ball effectively? Is it turnover-free football? Is it Lamar Jackson's mobility? Is it a four-man pass rush and the success of coming with that would come along with that and put Zach Orr in a position where he wouldn't necessarily have to blitz Drake May? Because as you're about to learn throughout the course of today's show, Drake is a blitz killer. He has had a lot of success, and he is an MVP candidate for a reason because of some of the success that he's had against the blitz. So all that and more is what I have coming up. It's brought to you by my friends at Preston Automotive Group. I'm glad you guys can be with me. You can scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner if you want to learn more about what they got going on all throughout the DMV, and I'll tell you more about them in just a bit. This just popped up, and because we spent some time on it earlier this week, I might as well just off the cuff spontaneously address this before we dive into the injury report and the surprise name that popped up on it from a Ravens perspective. But Matthew Judon, the former Raven, was released earlier this week by the Miami Dolphins, and then he went unclaimed. He cleared waivers. There was not one team around the league that was willing to bring him in for his services until now. Buffalo is signing Judon to their practice squad. I thought maybe that would be the scenario that if he did go unclaimed, which he did, that maybe the Ravens would be like, you know what, let's bring him in here. We just released Carl Lawson from our practice squad after he played in just one or two games for us. I thought that maybe that would make more sense, but the Bills decided that it made more sense to them. And now Matthew Judon is heading to Western New York to make a playoff run. He's 33 years old. He has really fallen off a cliff statistically. He had 0 sacks, 1 tackle for loss in over 300 defensive snaps this season for Miami. He played in 13 games. And again, as we learned earlier this week, Miami released him. So just to follow up on that, do I think it's a mighty miss, a colossal miss by Eric DeCosta in the front office? No. Particularly off a week where, man, the pass rush looked pretty darn good against a Cincinnati team that was lacking in terms of the protection and the offensive line continuity. They're serving Joe Burrow. But I know that with Tavius Robinson being back, and the fact that this was the first game we got to see last weekend of him teaming up with Dre'Mont Jones since he was acquired from Tennessee at the deadline, it is, to me, it is intriguing. And I'll be very curious to see if that's sustainable and an indication of what's to come in this closing stretch. Because the perfect segue here, and I've mentioned it a couple times on the Vault, but here is Aaron Schatz himself talking about the importance of getting home, applying pressure, and ultimately disrupting what New England's doing operationally from an offensive perspective with a four-man rush. Because if you have to go down the blitz road, Drake and company, led by Josh McDaniel, of course, who's the offensive coordinator in New England, and a darn good one at that, they will make you pay. Listen to Aaron.
Ravens pressure Drake May without blitzing. May has a 42% DVOA against the blitz, which is second in the league behind Brock Purdy. And of course, Purdy has a somewhat limited sample size this year.
Well, where's Jordan Love?
Like third or something.
Okay.
The Patriots are 28th in pressure rate and the Ravens are 26th. But the Ravens, according to ESPN charting, have a 42% pressure rate with a blitz, which is 12th, and a 21% pressure rate without a blitz, which is 30th. So they really need to blitz to get pressure. But if you blitz Drake May, he kills you.
My biggest takeaway from watching the Ravens against the Bengals was I thought the defensive line looked the best it has all year. A trade that I completely overlooked, dre'mont Jones. When the trade deadline happened, I was like, whatever, you know. Yeah. he was awesome against the Bengals. I mean, Bengals offensive line is not good. I get it. Travis Jones, who they just paid, is very, very good at getting after the quarterback. Tavius Robinson had a big day. A couple of those guys are going to have to step up. Your point is really good. I kind of think they can. I don't know.
Still no Will Campbell, right? So the Patriots are very weak at left tackle with Verdarian Lowe. They've overcome that the last couple weeks. If May has time, he is the best quarterback in the league this year on deep passes. Baltimore ranks 20th on passes of 16 or more air yards.
So those are some really interesting stats there that absolutely will ultimately help decide this contest on Sunday. Will the Ravens be able to limit explosive plays by this MVP candidate and this offense and this playmaking ability that he has around him, right at his disposal? It's a two-headed running back duo led by Travion Henderson. Ramondre Stevenson gets the rock as well. Two pass catchers leading the way for them. Both have over 600 receiving yards. Stephon Diggs leads the way with over 700. Hunter Henry at the tight end possession has over 600. And they've got other players as well that catch the football effectively for Drake May. But like you heard there from Aaron, the importance, just as we saw on Sunday in Cincinnati en route to Zach Orr's first defensive shutout as a play caller in this league, right? A lot of this is going to start with, can you continue to create organic pressure, organically win, and straight up not put your defensive play caller in a position where you got to lean on different blitz packages, where you got to get DBs involved, right? And ultimately open up level 2 and level 3 to potentially be vulnerable to this big playability offense that Drake May executes. Now, with all that in mind, obviously health is paramount in order to do all those things defensively. And you're looking at a laundry list right now for a final injury report. So let's run through it. Why you came here is the surprise name who popped up on today's third and final injury report entering week 16, and that is Kyle Hamilton, who was limited with an ankle. Reporters saw him perhaps limping around the locker room. Who are we to believe that, given the gladiator that is Kyle Hamilton, that he won't be out there? But it's just something to watch. And without Kyle, this Ravens defense just doesn't pack the same punch that we all know it does when number 14 is impacting every single play in different capacities. One to watch. He's been listed as questionable going in. Cheeto Awuzie, he was downgraded to doubtful. And when I say downgraded, he was actually upgraded in terms of his participation on Friday. But the ultimate game status is doubtful. He was a DNP Wednesday and Thursday. No, he's dealing with a foot. And whatever the hell happened on Sunday in Cincinnati on the sideline, where he got his foot tangled up in netting, not good. And certainly not good for the Ravens secondary. He's played really good unsung hero-like type football for them at times this year. Rashad Bateman trending towards going. He did not play against the Bengals last weekend with that high ankle sprain and the lingering effects of it. He should be good to go. Perhaps that's good news for the Ravens' red zone woes. They are the second to last team in terms of red zone efficiency or lack thereof. Teddy Buchanan, we know he's done for the year. That means that Trenton Simpson will be the next man up. And that's someone that Kyle Hamilton spoke about earlier this afternoon.
You're saying this, but we have guys who are best kept secrets, honestly, on this defense. We're super talented, just the way things shake out. Don't get a ton of snaps at whatever position, but obviously sucks for Teddy, who's having a great rookie year, and it sucks to see somebody go down like that. But he's got a bright future ahead of him. I'm sure he'll do great with rehab. But Trenton steps in, and it's almost like it was a seamless change. It's not like he came in and they started gashing us in the run or stuff like that. He actually made a lot of stops in that game, and we're going to be relying on him going down the stretch. So I'm excited for him. It's year 3 now. He's going up a lot. Super excited to just put his talent on display because I think he is honestly one of the more talented people on this team, on this defense.
Third time's a charm for Trenton. We know he's been demoted twice throughout his young career. This is year 3 for him. He was I'm having a mental Friday mush brain moment. He was a third rounder, wasn't he? Second or third rounder out of Clemson. 3 years ago now, third rounder, 2023, out of Clemson. Obviously, his first year was Patrick Queen's last year in Baltimore. He ultimately walks and goes to Pittsburgh in free agency, and it was Trenton's job to lose, so we thought, and perhaps it was, but ultimately he has not been the guy for multiple years running. He has been impactful this year, I would say, as a third down specialist, and really found a good role. And he's always a special teams impact player, and his athleticism is through the roof. Now you get another opportunity, the third time through, to be the starting weak side linebacker alongside Roquan Smith. We will see if he's ready to go coming up this weekend. There are different ways, different personnel packages, different alignments. They can set him up for success. Certainly knowing, right, with our Darius Washington being back and available for them, having played 15 snaps, what was his 2025 season debut after tearing his Achilles back in May. This was on Sunday. That'll be something to watch in terms of just how much they really do trust Trenton Simpson. Let's keep moving, though. We left off with Teddy, of course. Zay Flowers popped up with a neck, but he was a full participant all week long. But something to watch that he's dealing with a neck. Kyle, I told you, is the surprise player with an ankle. Jay Higgins is in the middle of his 3-week window. Undrafted free agent linebacker who showed up and showed out in the summer. And particularly in training camp and preseason play. His 3-week window with that knee, the practice window is open, but being that this is only 1 week down, he's been ruled out for Sunday night. Keandre Jackson, safety, dealing with an ankle. He was a full participant both Thursday and Friday. He'll be good to go. Same thing with Lamar, who missed Wednesday's practice with an illness. John Jenkins, also dealing with an illness. John Harbaugh saying that a flu bug of some sorts is working its way through his team and his locker room. Hopefully these guys can get themselves right coming up by Sunday night. You got several extra hours with the primetime slate, of course, right? So big John Jenkins, he's been playing good football for them as a run stuffer specialist. Just a big body, occupies a lot of space. He's questionable. Tyler Linderbaum popped up with a knee. He's a full participant today after being limited on Thursday. CJ Okoye with the quad, but he was full practice participant all week long. Same thing with Roquan, at least on Thursday and Friday after missing Wednesday. He popped up with a knee, so nothing to worry about there, at least in terms of his game status. Ronnie Stanley is questionable. That knee/ankle is definitely something to watch, knowing that he's had his fair share of ankle issues for years running now. He is a questionable player going into Sunday night, and if he can't go, they'll have to choose between, obviously, Carson Vincent, the rookie, or Joseph Noteboom, the tenured veteran. So that would be a huge loss. And knowing that New England's already dealing on the opposite side, from their offensive standpoint, they are down to their second string left tackle after Will Campbell was lost for at least the rest of the regular season. I think there's a chance that he can go back. I was reading something random within the last couple of days that I think their rookie first rounder can return potentially by the postseason. But anyway, you don't want to live in a world where your Lamar's blindside protector is down. Ronnie's been playing some darn good football for them this year and what's otherwise been collectively a very disappointing season performance-wise for the offensive line. And then Kyle Van Noy upgraded to full participant with a quad, no game status, meaning he is good to go. And that right there is a laundry list worth of players who found themselves on the injury report going into this weekend. It's a Ravens defense that has successfully turned itself around and gotten the attention of Mike Vrabel, who's in year 1 with the New England Patriots as their head coach.
They're running the ball on them, so they're forcing a lot of these games to be one-dimensional. Really good mix of veteran players and some youth. Really good interior players. They're just big. They're, Jones and Jenkins. And obviously they'll rotate other guys through there, but it starts with those two. I think Kyle Hamilton is one of the best players in this league just from a versatility standpoint and what he can do at the line of scrimmage covering. 34 career PBUs, 8 career sacks, plays nickel, plays safety, plays dime backer. So the versatility there is impressive. The playmaking ability is impressive. I mean, Humphreys is, if you're loose with the football or you take a nap, he'll pull it out or he'll hammer it. Roquan Smith usually tackles the ball every time it's handed off. So they're playing well. They're playing with a lot of confidence, and it'll be a huge test.
A lot of coach speak, a lot of respect being given there and earned perhaps from Variable to the Ravens. Same thing from Kyle Hamilton's perspective, looking at, again, who is an MVP candidate, and Drake May, a second-year player at the quarterback position who's been lighting up the league this season for New England.
One, I think he's super mobile, big arm, big guy. I met Drake a couple times too, good dude, and but just as a player, like, he presents a lot of problems for defense. I can't remember the last time we went against like a very mobile quarterback like Drake, so it'll be big for us just to have good rush lanes. But I mean, he can hurt you just as much with his legs as he can with his arms. So big props to him. I know he's like in the MVP conversation, everything, all deservedly so. He's had a great year. It's only his second year, right? Yeah, so probably gonna be a problem in the league for a long time. So excited to go up against him, team this Sunday.
And I'm going to share the same exact clip that I shared at the top and spoke about on the Vault multiple times this week, because I ultimately think it will be the deciding factor in who walks away victorious come Sunday night. And it's a statistic that has to do with Drake May when it comes to going against the blitz. Aaron looked at it and also juxtaposed it against what the Ravens have really struggled in defensively throughout the collective portion of this season, which is now obviously, a 14-game sample size? 15 total weeks going into week 16. Here is Aaron Schatz, the creator of DVOA. That's efficiency, performance, and overall evaluation within those two areas.
Pressure Drake May without blitzing. May has 42% DVOA against the blitz, which is second in the league behind Brock Purdy. And of course, Purdy has a somewhat limited sample size this year.
Well, where's Jordan Love?
Like third or something.
Okay.
The Patriots are 28th in pressure rate and the Ravens are 26th. But the Ravens, according to ESPN charting, have a 42% pressure rate with a blitz, which is 12th, and a 21% pressure rate without a blitz, which is 30th. So they really need to blitz to get pressure. But if you blitz Drake May, he kills you.
My biggest takeaway from watching the Ravens against the Bengals was I thought the defensive line looked the best it has all year. A trade that I completely overlooked, Dre'Mont Jones. When the trade deadline happened, I was like, whatever,
Yeah.
He was awesome against the Bengals. I mean, Bengals offensive line is not good. I get it. Travis Jones, who they just paid, is very, very good at getting after the quarterback. Tavius Robinson had a big day. A couple of those guys are going to have to step up. Your point is really good. I kind of think they can. I don't know. I
still no Will Campbell, right? So the Patriots are very weak at left tackle with Verdarian Lowe. They've overcome that the last couple weeks. If May has time, he is the best quarterback in the league this year on deep passes. Baltimore ranks 20th on passes of 16 or more air yards.
Right there. It is literally right there. You see the way that Drake May and this offense responds to things when they're blitzed. And you see just how explosive this New England offense has been. Yes, we can talk about the degree of difficulty or lack thereof from a strength of schedule standpoint. All we want. We can talk about the AFC East and how it doesn't pack a punch. We can talk about all these things. But the bottom line is this is an offense that flourishes against the blitz, led by their mobile quarterback who's decisive and has his safety valves in Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry. So while collectively Aaron is right, the Ravens pass rush among the worst in the league in terms of pass rush win weight. God, I could never say that. Doesn't matter how tired I am, how not tired I am, how well rested I am, how heartbroken I am, you name it. Pass rush win rate. Okay, thank you. Bottom line is, can you limit them from an explosive play standpoint? And can you get home and bring the pressure on four-man rushes? They were able to do it against a lackluster Cincinnati offensive line a week ago, and they're going to have to do it again to continue to put this defense in a position for success against a high-flying offense like the Patriots. As far as New England's health report, we're going to open up the guest lines in just a second. If you want to share a thought with me and let me know why you voted the way that you did in the poll, go ahead and click the link that I have included as a pinned comment in my live chat. Robert Spillane is out. He is their leading tackler at the linebacker position. He's dealing with an ankle, and he was a DNP all week long, and he has been ruled out. That is a big deal for the Patriots, and one of the many reasons why I think the Ravens have this in the bag and why I predicted a 27-21 victory earlier this afternoon on the Vault. Christian Barmore, talented defensive tackle for them, dealing with a knee. He's been listed as questionable. Carlton Davis III, also a questionable designation there. He was a DNP the first couple days. They're banged up. Their secondary's banged up. Both Carlton Davis and Marcus Jones have both been listed as questionable, but both players were available to the media portion viewing of today's practice in New England, suggesting that they're going to play. Harold Landry, linebacker, he's also questionable. Christian Ellis, the second leading tackler for them defensively, he's good to go. No designation. He will play coming up on Sunday night. So just as you're familiarizing yourself with what New England has in store from an availability standpoint, that's that. Let's get to the guest lines. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. Let's get an update first and foremost on the poll. Yes, I love a good poll. That's POLL. Thank you very much. 160 votes and counting. What's your biggest factor entering Patriots weekend? 43% of you saying run the ball effectively. 28% say turnover-free football. 9% of you want Lamar Jackson's mobility, and 19% of you say a four-man pass rush, meaning the success in that department. Keep voting. Appreciate you guys as always. Let me get a read in here before I open up these guest lines officially. Thanks to Preston Automotive Group for the continued support of my program. It's my longest standing sponsor. And if you're looking for your next ride, check them out. They got locations in Aberdeen, Randallstown, all across Delmarva, a brand new one in Millsboro. Take your pick. Preston has the selection and the deals to get you on the road today. There's well over 2,000 available vehicles, by the way. Let's get that actual number. 3,955 is the current count that allows you in the available inventory section to break things down by make, model, keyword. You can go nitty gritty here in the search box. You want to go further than that? Price, vehicle condition, year, make, location. Take your pick. And if you find something you like, remember, if you're a Bobby Baltimore subscriber, you'll get a $500 off credit towards a newer pre-owned vehicle. So keep that in mind. Let them know that I sent you. And on top of that, if you buy 4 tires, you'll get 50% off your alignment. So continued thanks to them. Go check out their site. Go support them if you are interested in getting on the road. When you support the brand sponsors, you're directly supporting the show, and they are all over the Baltimore area. Just so you guys know, you do not need to be in the Maryland area and the Baltimore area to work with Preston. Shipping is available all across the country. So thanks to Preston, and thanks to you guys. You can go find them on Instagram for more if you're interested at Preston Automotive Group. Over 500 of you concurrently watching between all platforms. Like the video if you could on the way in. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership this holiday season. Let's go to Maurice and talk to Mr. Stationary himself on this Purple Friday. Get his feel on what's going on entering a gotta-have-it game. Stop me if you've heard that before. Feels like it's been postseason in Baltimore for weeks now, if not months. Maurice, what's up, brother? Happy Friday, man.
Hey, happy Friday to you. So my answer to the question on the poll, I feel like the biggest factor going into today's game, well, not today's game, excuse me. The biggest factor to Sunday's game will be running the ball effectively. It's like I'm looking over the injury report for the Patriots. So no Robert Spillane. He's not going to be active in that ball game. And if you know Robert Spillane, he was a former Pittsburgh Steeler, and that's one of those guys on the Patriots defense who has a lot of familiarity with the Ravens defense. And as you mentioned before, Robert Spillane leads the Patriots in total tackles. So like basically Robert Spillane is what Teddy Bruschi used to be back in the day for the Patriots, the heartbeat of that defense. So our job as a running offense, we have to expose the imperfections of the Patriots defense. And looking over the injury report, it's just like us, the Patriots are all sorts of banged up and beaten up on the defensive side. So if you see no Robert Spillane on the football field, we got to keep running the ball effectively for a full 60 minutes. So you got to keep the engine rolling. So we have Lamar Jackson to our disposal, as well as Derrick Henry. Now, despite the offensive line woes, what amazes me is that Derrick Henry eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark, despite the poor offensive line play, specifically the guards. So if we stick to what's been working for us, and if this team continues to get healthy at the right time as the postseason nears, we have to take care of business. So we got New England coming up. Then we got to move on to Pittsburgh. So the time is now in terms of cleaning up our errors, and there is no margin for error. So it is up to us to handle our business week in and week out. So like there is a small margin for error. So we have to capitalize while we can. But that's where I stand on the poll.
Packers, of course, big one 2 days after Christmas as well. And you mentioned Derrick Henry. There's a familiarity there between Mike Vrabel and Derrick, and gosh, DeAndre too. DeAndre Hopkins. Both of those guys spent time in Tennessee under Mike Vrabel, and you already know Braves has a tremendous amount of respect and familiarity, which can only take you so far when it comes to the King. He sat down with Scott Zolak earlier this week in a Patriots-related programming show and had this to say about matching up with 22.
Coming off probably their best game of the year. They had a tough stretch there. They're starting to come together, knock the rust off. Number 22, Derrick Henry, intimately. What makes him so damn good in this league?
Well, first of all, it says it's a good football team. They're 6-2 off the bye. They're no strangers to winning, and they understand what it takes to win. And as it relates to Derrick Henry, I mean, he's just a dynamic back that doesn't run outside zone. He runs inside zone, gap scheme, outside zone. So this is a challenge. We have to be able to find ways to get to him early. He builds speed, and it's a tough tackle.
Oh, it's a tough tackle, all right. And I saw some video coming out from the Patriots online community in terms of how they're preparing this week. Take a look at this. I mean, talk about King Henry preparations, right? This is courtesy of @KMoreTV on X. But gang tackling obviously can only get you so far. You can say it all you want, but until you're out there seeing 22 coming at you downhill like bat out of hell, there's only so much you can do about it. So give us your score prediction, my man, and I hope you have a great start to your weekend.
All right, so my score prediction for Sunday's game, and although some people may agree with this, what I'm about to say, others may not disagree, but I got us winning the ball game 34-20. As long as everything goes according to plan, play mistake-free football, offensive line continues to keep our quarterback clean in the pocket. Those two things are very crucial. Oh, as well as running the ball effectively. So if we got those three things taken care of, defense continues to handle business, we will be walking out of this game with another victory under our belt. So that's my prediction for Sunday's game.
All right, brother, get some steps in tonight. All right, enjoy your weekend. We'll catch up with you on Sunday.
All right, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Maurice, EB, and Julian in the waiting room as well. Hopefully you guys are all doing well tonight. Let's get an update on the poll. Coming up on that 200 vote number. What's your biggest factor entering Patriots weekend? Still leading the way is running the ball effectively at 44%, turnover-free football at 27%, four-man pass rush success at 20%, and Lamar's mobility at 9%. He will play, by the way. Dealt with an illness, obviously, as he missed Wednesday's practice earlier this week. We'll have to wait and see. It worked last week. I was of the belief and on record for sharing an opinion of mine the previous 5 weeks or so with some of the missed practice time I thought caught up to him a little bit. But clearly I thought operationally speaking and some of the polish, it might have been his best game so far in 2025, excluding the first 3 quarters in Buffalo, week 1. And the Ravens got to hope that continues, because this is one of those weeks where, look, for some reason I felt that intuition last week of predicting a defensive score. And hey, sometimes you just a blind squirrel finds its nut every once in a while, right? But there's also that nuance and flukiness that comes with AFC North football. The one thing I'm feeling in terms of intuition going into this weekend, it's that, and this is nothing groundbreaking, you're going to have to put up points to hang with the Patriots. This is a highly explosive offense. I don't think every single one of these names that we started talking about today on this show is going to play for them defensively. It's a laundry list of names. And so all of a sudden, you might be vulnerable on the back end with a no Cheeto Awuzie, for example, right? You might be a little bit vulnerable. We know Marlon's banged up and can be susceptible to the big play at times. We know Nate Wiggins, as great as he is, and he's in the Nate's like the least of my worries, right? But Stephon Diggs is a savvy veteran who understands separation, who understands how to get open. And that's the one thing that I'm thinking about going in. We can talk about all we want, the importance of a four-man rush, because Drake May will kill you when you blitz. There's only one other quarterback that has more of a success rate in terms of DVOA this season when he finds himself in those situations. But if you're leaving yourself susceptible to big play and the Patriots are putting up numbers, there's going to put some stress on Lamar in this offense to move the ball effectively, which they have not done consistently for a myriad of reasons, dating all the way back to really the beginning of this season. So that to me is really, really important. If you're giving up those kind of numbers, those kind of plays early, and they're directly leading to points for New England, this is going to be a game where Lamar's got to don the cape. And most importantly, his supporting cast around him has to answer the bell. Balls have to be caught on third down. Pass protection has to be stout and consistent. And obviously the play calling in the red zone has to be on point as well. And there's a multitude of other factors that'll play into this as well. Let's go to the guest lines. Appreciate you guys for being with me tonight. EB, you with me? It was chronological. Let's see what maybe you got a little movie theater night coming up tonight. Well, you and I can chat. Trey and Julian down in the waiting room as well. You guys are on deck. EB, it's good to see you, brother. I'm licking my wounds today, man. Maybe we can talk about our romances at the end of this segment. But first and foremost, it's good to see you. Merry Christmas to you and yours early. I see you out grinding right now. What do you got on your mind tonight?
Well, to go back to the poll that you put up, I can't believe the percentage is high on running the ball. I mean, yes, that is a factor, but it's not the factor. It's the four-man rush. Bobby, you just put up stats, and then you just played a video of Drake May destroying the blitz. So I feel as though that the pass rush is the factor, because the manufactured pressure and blitzes is not gonna cut it. And if you do, I would mix it up and I would drive him towards his left versus his right. Since it's been, you feel me, since it was just explained that way. So my take on that is it's the four-man rush. I feel as though that Tavius Robinson, Dre'Mont Jones, Mike Green, and Travis Jones is the key to that four-man rush.
Yeah, you heard our guest earlier this afternoon, Greg Bedard. He's covered the Patriots forever. And he's like, look, when Drake gets out of the pocket and he flushes or gets flushed to the right, or he decides to extend the play to his right, he's lethal. And so whether it's against the blitz, right, acting decisively, getting the ball out of his hands quickly and dumping it off to a couple of his safety valves in Diggs and or Henry and the other pass catchers that he has at his disposal, they move the ball. They got a duo at the running back position, right? Kind of a split sample size there between Ramondre Stevenson is the second string back, and then Travion Henderson is RB1 for them. So they got playmakers all around, but everything runs through Drake May, his mobility, his play extending ability, his precision. There's nobody that throws a better deep ball this year in terms of the explosiveness. And that's been an area, as we've seen, especially in division against Cincinnati, the Ravens defense can be susceptible. The turnaround's been great. The numbers suggest that there's been no other team, as this right here takes a look at, since week 6 that's been better against the run. What you're looking at right now is rush EPA per play allowed, and it goes all the way back to week 6. There's not a team that's more north than the Ravens. And you see they're in the likes of bona fide playoff teams like the Seattles, the Rams, the Jaguars. By the way, that game last night was an instant classic. Instant.
I'm not even ready to talk about that. because you've already heard me enough times when I said, Bobby, our coach, the Baltimore Ravens coach, is currently in fucking Seattle.
Here he
That's the last
goes.
time I'm gonna say that. That's the last time I'm gonna say that. But in your heart of hearts, Bobby, just a little deep down, you know I'm right.
Well, look, of course, when you lead with emotion on that, right? Of course, everybody wants Mike Mack, but you got to look at it from a business perspective. I know nobody wants to hear this shit, but there was no way after an AFC Championship game appearance. Yes, they fell flat in epic fashion in all the worst ways, but there was no way that you were letting your head coach leave after taking you to where you hadn't been in the Lamar era.
Listen, Bobby, you and I, and see, of course, we can't do it on this segment. We can do it another time. But Bobby, you and I can have a nice, a friendly debate on why do you think that this imbecile of a head coach should keep staying here and keep getting bites of the Lamar Jackson apple, as Sarah like to call it. Because what has he done? People keep saying
ready.
he's a
I'm
winner.
on record for saying I'm ready. I'm ready for change. I've already said that this year. Yeah, I've said that.
That change should have been came, man. You know that's what I'm saying. Like once we fell in our faces 6 times, Bobby, really 6 times, really. You go away from your identity and against a team that was, if I'm not mistaken, was 14 and run defense, and we had the pieces. You still had Lamar, and you still had Gus the Bus to a certain extent. And if I'm not mistaken, we still had Justice Hill. You could have made it work.
You know what you should do? Why don't you continue this trend in professional sports that I've seen within the last couple of weeks? I saw the Orioles. I saw the Golden State Warriors owner respond via email to an unsatisfied customer based on roster projections or playing time splits, whatever it was. And the owner responded to him. It was only like 2 or 3 sentences long, but this fan got a response. Why don't you start spamming the all-out hell out of Mr. Bisciotti from your Amazon truck, get on his ass, tell him that you are Mr. EB in the flesh, let him know there's not a man in the country that's more of a savant in a movie theater, in a late-night movie theater, I might add. Nobody's got the charisma, the type of feel, right? The big game playability, especially after hours, than you, EB. And that warrants a response, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I'm actually with you. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I can actually get behind that. I can get behind it.
All right, brother. I got to get back to the guest lines. It's great to see you, my man. Safe
All
travels out there, EB. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. It's just a bad boy. Mike Vrabel on King Henry.
Huge challenge. He's a very unique player. Great speed, great power, strength. He's just a different body type than what anybody would go against. And so it's unique in that regard. They do a very nice job with their scheme. Different personnel groups and different run plan and styles of run and different run actions. So again, we know what he's about, build speed and stiff arm and all that other stuff. He was very valuable, I think, to our success in Tennessee. Me personally, had a great relationship with Derek. He was always there. Seemed like when we needed to play, he made it. And, he's a great teammate. Anytime that there was a message, he delivered that message in his own particular way. So again, he was somebody that I really valued in the 6 years that I was there with him.
A lot of mutual respect there, no question about it. Bottom line is, New England right now, I think there's more questions than there are answers for not only what it's been and what have you done for me lately in terms of run defense, but how are you going to go do it successfully on Sunday night? They're down Robert Spillane. They've had issues in some of the gap integrity. We talked with Greg Bedard earlier this afternoon. That has got to be an area that the Ravens exploit in order to keep up with what I'm sure isn't high-flying offense on the other side of the field, that will be able to put up points. I'm still predicting a Ravens win because I think they're going to play clean football is my prediction. I don't think there's going to be anything too wonky. I think it's going to be an effective way of moving the football, right, with a married game plan. I have no idea whether or not they're going to score in scripted format because they rarely do, and I'm sure the red zone struggles will continue to a certain degree. But the fact that the Patriots are down Spillane, their top tackler, and several key pieces potentially, or at least they're banged up and not healthy right now on the back end in the secondary, big deal. Big deal. Julian, you're currently frozen for me right now. You were ahead of Trey, so why don't you go in and out because I can't currently see you at the moment. So come on in, come on out, and that brings Mr. Columbus inside the channel on a Friday. What's going on, brother?
How's it going, Bobby?
Good to see you, Trey.
Good. I've kind of been a little bit behind. I've been running around doing a lot of stuff for the business, so I haven't been catching up to you on some of the videos. But I had a quick question. I ended up catching Brian Billick's talk. What was your view on his nasty take for defensive linemen or just defensive players just having more of a bully side to them?
You know what's funny? I'm not even aware of what you're saying. Is this something that am I missing something?
Yeah, he just did an interview with Baltimore Sun 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. So can you summarize it for me?
Yeah, I can. Pretty much he was on there with Mike Preston and Jerry. And he was pretty much discussing about he was worried about Lamar. That everybody's asking hey, what's your take on Lamar and is really how he's doing health-wise and long-term? And he was saying that he thinks he's going to maintain possibly because of that hamstring, and he's scared to actually probably fully let his body all the way go because he's dealing with the hamstring mid-season. Could that change in the playoffs? It could, but that's
go ahead and
his
listen
take
to it.
on
I just queued it up while you were talking, so why don't we go ahead and listen to it? And we'll do a little live reacting to here. This is courtesy of the Be More Sports Pod, like you said, Jerry and Mike, and Coach Billick. Here it is.
Happy is about Lamar Jackson. A lot of fans, obviously, happy with the way this guy's career has gone. 2 MVPs, hasn't performed that well in the playoffs just yet. Some are declaring him among the greatest Raven ever, which I think is a bit premature. You coached a lot of the greatest Ravens ever. So how do you feel about Lamar and the way his career has gone and where it's headed?
Fabulous. We overuse the word because there's very few players in the league that are unique, but he is that. Just like a Patrick Mahomes is unique in an undescribable way and in ways that we really have not seen before. Lamar, the same way. He just does it. Obviously, the athleticism, the ability to change the game with his legs. He is a good enough thrower to beat you down the field. He's not the prototypical, pocket passer, and he's not necessarily going to beat you from the pocket. But in conjunction with his ability to run around that forces you to build the 8-man box that gives him the man coverage, he can make those throws. And it's a tough combination. And it reminds me of, in my day, when I was in Minnesota, we played Barry Sanders twice a year. They were in our division. And I remember, and Tony Dungy was our defensive coordinator. And Tony's the first one that come up with that box theory of don't rush, just create the box and let Barry Sanders come to you. It's the only way to stop him. Because if you leave any kind of hole, he's gonna gash you. And I remember, obviously being on the offense side, playing those games. Remember,
this is the clip that you're referring to, right?
No. He's still talking about it, but it's in the middle. It's in the middle. You have to find the exact clip.
You go ahead and paraphrase it for me just for timing purposes.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, because I was about to say that's going to be a little bit longer. I was going to cut you off. He talked for a while, but he was just pretty much saying that Lamar in general is just he's going through the phases of just being injured and everything. He's just going to break that phase. It could break it possibly in the postseason, but we'll have to wait and see. But defense, he was alluding to was the difference between his 2000s defense and you just seen the 2013 defense, and is it possible that the Ravens have opportunity to show that side of that defense going into this postseason? We're not sure. I mean, we did see a shutout, but they need to keep that like pretty much mean, rugged, like how Dre'Mont Jones was, like pretty much showing that side and nasty mentality to see if that carries through. If that carries through, yes, there's a high possibility. Yeah. That's what he was kind of alluding to.
I got you. So I got two things for you. One, somebody alluded to it. Maybe you did. Lamar's mobility has, I think we can all agree that over the last month, there's been a steady incline in the correct direction, trajectory-wise, of his improved health, improved mobility. With that said, there's something still off for me when I watch him.
Well, it's confidence. Everybody knows that.
It could very well be that inner conscience, right? That he has to process and go through every single play. Easier said than done.
It's, I mean, as an athlete, I'll be honest, like playing college ball and then having the opportunity to once you actually do something that you know that's held you back, mentally, it could be a mental block for a great player. It could be a mental block for a weak player. It doesn't matter the type of player. It's just something that once you finally starting to feel it to a point of like, you know what, I can do this. It clicks instantly, and then it can just take off from there. I mean, I saw, honestly, in that Bengals game, since obviously I'm here in Ohio, so I was decided to go and seats were full of snow. But just like like I saw in that Bengals game, something switched. Not just like I know you and Sarah went over that video of, I mean, pretty much, or it was your interview with, who was that? I keep losing. Jeff? Is it Jeff that you have?
Yeah.
When on the inside of him being happy, and it's like you see it on the field too. You see not just him being happy, excited on the field. It's just you see that confidence, and then when he comes back, he's looking at everybody. It's just the old way.
And hey, like we both know, 75% of Lamar is better than most quarterbacks in this league, right? And I'm not saying that's the number he's at, but clearly he's less than 100%, right? The Lamar gear, that extra gear, the Lamar gear, let's call it, I don't think has been in his arsenal for months now. And we know why. It's about multiple lower body physical setbacks. And so while I can really feel encouraged by two of those scrambles on Sunday in Cincy, 1 for 12, 1 for 14, where he showed some willingness, showed some pop, showed that breakaway type speed, right? But also slid and said, hey, I'm good. Let's continue to move the ball. I can feel encouraged by that. I can feel encouraged by a couple of the plays against Pittsburgh at home a couple of weeks ago, where the designed runs to the right-hand side strategically away from TJ Watt, he looked good. And the fact that Todd Monken was willing to call them, you can feel encouraged by that. But also at the end of the day, we know that the Lamar gear has not been something that he's been able to lean on pretty much this entire season. And I wonder if the opposing defense knows it.
Oh, they all know. They know. They just got to keep it. They have to keep that in-house and just make sure that, like Brandon Stevens did. You know.
And I went off on a tangent. Exactly. I went off on a tangent there because the second part of my commentary to you was in response to the nastiness and like potentially embodying what past Ravens defenses have been. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. We saw it on Sunday in Cincinnati. We've seen it at times this year. It's a group that obviously has worked itself into being formidable, if not more than formidable, and if not above average at times over the last month or so. I think Dre'Mont has put himself in a position where he is a legitimate candidate to be extended. Alohi's brought a sense of calm and playmaking. The guy's the AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah.
So he's brought that. We know what Kyle Hamilton does as literally a do-it-all. I mean, the guy's a goddamn linebacker.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I think Roquan's been in a lot of ways disrespected by parts of the fan base. And look, Sarah and I have been critical. We've been critical of him.
Stat. My bad. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We've been critical of him, and there's been areas of his game that have been worthy of critique. But I thought he might have played his best game of the season in Cincinnati. He was always there. He's gonna have to be there because this duo of a two-headed monster in Stevenson and Henderson are going to be getting downhill at times.
I feel like Trenton's going to show himself. It's now or never. So I have a gut feeling. It's a weird gut feeling that this might be Trenton Simpson's breakout game. A lot of people don't think that. And obviously, mainly because he's gone through so many issues, and I felt the same way. But what I saw in Cincinnati, I saw a confident linebacker waiting for the opportunity to do 3 downs. And it was different. A lot of people can't see it live compared to seeing it on TV and off of just watching video. It's a confident linebacker. The way he's interacting with people, he's communicating more. Trenton Simpson might have his opportunity for a breakout game.
That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I like that. Speaking into existence, he's looked really good in some of the specialist role on third down. We know that he's always an impact special teamer, and the athleticism's never been questioned. This guy's sideline freak. Guy's a freak of nature, built like a. People are going to rip me for this, but he's a Greek god. He's not Teddy Buchanan, but he's a Greek god out there. And if he can start to put some of the processing together of playing alongside Roquan and not overthinking, it seems like you're seeing a guy that's over processing at times through his first 2 stints as the starter. Third time to charm. Trey, we'll see. Thanks for the call, brother.
No problem.
Later, man. Mr. Columbus. What's up, Jewel? Thanks for holding. Man, Jewel, every time I bring Julian on this gosh darn show, he just calls out. I don't know what the hell he's doing. By the way, look at this. Top five rushing yards leaders so far this season. And in the midst of what's been obviously a trying season for him, running behind a group that has had its fair share of struggles in moving humans, Derrick Henry is still a top 5 rushing yards running back. 1,125. It's a far cry from the 2,000 club that we were all projecting a year ago. Jonathan Taylor leads the way in Indianapolis at 1,443. James Cook in Buffalo trails him by just a bit at 1,415. Devon Achane in Miami, he's a beast, 1,186. Bijan Robinson, had a chance to watch him a week ago when the Bucs and Falcons played here in Tampa. Let me tell you, you want to talk about dudes who move differently on a football field and the fluidity with which he does it? Bijan's fun to watch. And the fact that they got Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson on the same offense and didn't make the postseason is a shame. They probably should have started Kirk Cousins the entire year. Maybe that's a hot take. I know they had to see what they had in a first-round pick in Penix. But I think Kirk ultimately makes them at least a wild card playoff team. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. The point is, watching these guys in person, the eye test, Bijan and Kyle Pitts, it was fun. I highly encourage you guys. I know I have some Atlanta people in here, like my girl Minx. Damn. I mean, it's fun to watch these guys. Elaine has gifted a super chat. And Elaine says, I meant you need to maybe date a little older, more in common. Now, what is this? Was there another comment that you made, Elaine, that you're clarifying or throwing? Okay, I have the first one, and then let's go to your super chat after. Elaine writes, the first comment was, Bobby, I just got home and watched The Vault. I don't think you're stuck up. I think you're somewhat of an old soul. You are very caring and compassionate and close to your mom. Look older. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. And for those of you that are missing out on where's this coming from, I think when we went to like our one more thing topic to close out today's show, and I was referencing some of the struggles that I've had with isolation, living in a new area with no one I know, and also in the dating game that's led to some fatigue and some flakiness and some indecisiveness. Not on my behalf. I'm very decisive, I think. But anyway, I was just talking about how I'm very mindful and intentional with who I surround myself with, whether it be romantically or socially or anywhere in between. And I think I rubbed some people the wrong way this afternoon, as if to say that like I was pretentious or stuck up, I guess is what Elaine, or that's what others said on The Vault. Who knows? But point is, I try to be really mindful of who I spend my time with, because who you surround yourself with and ultimately who you end up with, I think, is a direct reflection of who you are. So anyway, Elaine's extension of that, as I get off on a tangent, Elaine says, I meant you need to maybe date a little older, more in common. Love what you and Sarah are doing. This is our Super Bowl story. All the issues will make us tested for the playoffs. Thank you, Elaine. And I'm going to go ahead and shift my dating radius just because, Elaine, I feel like you're the wisdom that I need here. You're the old soul that can maybe get through to me. Why don't I go shift my dating range Let's see what it currently is right now. Okay, 30-mile maximum distance, which is a deal breaker. Age range. Okay, I'm going to extend this. 25 to 40. Do we like that? I'm never going to end up with a 40-year-old, I think. But I'm going to extend it 25 to 40. And God, the rest of the Hinge is such a cesspool. I got to meet somebody organically. Let's be honest. Thanks, Elaine. Appreciate you. Joel, should we try this again, my brother?
Yeah, I was going back and forth because I was I got some people cleaning the carpet. That's why I had to get out that way.
We don't know what's going on over there. We'll see about that.
Yeah, I'm having a party next week. That's why.
Okay. Happy Friday to you, brother. Talk to me about what you're feeling tonight.
Well, I'm gonna try to make this quick as they probably done in a few, but I'm gonna make this quick. Well, the injury report was a little, iffy, or whatnot, but mostly all of them are going to play. Awuzie, that's a little bit of a loss in my opinion, but I think TJ Tampa and Keon Martin should be okay to fill in that role. How do I feel about this game particularly? It's going to be a tough game, but I feel like whoever wins is going to be a blowout in my mind. I'm feeling like the Ravens are going to make a little bit of a statement in this game.
Okay.
I'm feeling 39-ish, 38 points to the Patriots 17.
Oh,
I believe. Yeah. I'm going that far because I feel as though what happened to the Patriots last week, it was really like that. That is really mentally going to mess them up, in my opinion. Damn. I mean, you were up 21-0, and then you had the game right then, and then you blew it at home. I mean, yeah, you can use that as a motivation. Oh, we're going to get them the next game, but it's hard to overcome stuff like that when you just had it and you had a division right there in your grasp. You're home, you're in front of your home crowd, and you just blow it like that. I mean, that's going to be detrimental to them. And then you got to play on prime time. I mean, we haven't been great on prime time either, but I believe the Ravens will get this one. And I believe they'll
2 points shy of a 40 burger. The fuck?
I'm not going up there to a 40, but I'm gonna say 30. I think they go in
damn near in the neighborhood.
I'm going in the 30 range. I think they get 30 points in this game. You got to go out with a bang. This is the last home game of the season for this year. Potentially, maybe if they get if they get into the playoffs, they get another playoff home game. But this is their last home game technically. This is it. So you got to pull out all the stuff.
They got a sour taste in their mouth because this is just the third season in 100 years. This is the third season in 30 years that they're going to go below 500 at home. Doesn't happen.
Yeah. So they
particularly in prime time where they've been shit this year.
Yeah, and we've always been great in prime time, but this year it's just been wonky, basically. So if you want to go out there with a bang, go out with a bang with an good old fashioned Ravens ass whooping, like they usually do. The 2023 Ravens was whip everybody's ass during that year, like the Detroit Lions and all those teams that we whooped that year. The good old fashioned Ravens ass whooping. That's what I'm
forget those. I mean, that was just an onslaught. Those guys were
was
mowing down competition.
That's what I'm predicting. That's what I see happening.
Well, here's Lamar talking about the game itself.
Defensive line is phenomenal. Linebacker, secondary, just all phases. Like I said, the defense is explosive. I like to get after the quarterback, so I just be on point and execute everything.
Again, though, no Robert Spillane, and you do not need to familiarize yourself with him to know that's a big loss for New England's run defense. Level 2, some of the continuity there, some of the gap assignments and overall integrity that, as we learned earlier this afternoon from Greg Bedard, has been an area that they've been susceptible to from a run defense standpoint. So, Jewel, have a great weekend, brother. I'll catch up with you on Sunday, if not before, all right?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how I see it. So I'm predicting a really good Ravens win this Sunday. So I'll leave it at that.
We'll make sure we remember that. Yes, we will.
All right, now.
We're going to go revisit that score prediction for sure. A 38 burger? Say what? I'm going 27-21, and I'll take some of your guys' predictions, and let's get an update on the poll while we're at it as well. Let me know what your score predictions are for Sunday. Coming up on 300 votes in the poll. Go ahead and vote. Again, if you haven't already, you know I love a good poll. P-O-L-L. Let's be clear on that. What's your biggest factor entering Patriots weekend? Still leading the way is running the ball effectively at 41%. Turnover-free football is at 30%. Four-man pass rush success is at 19%. And Lamar's mobility is 10%. So that's where things are right there. Frank has Ravens 27-20. 5 Word says 24-21 Ravens. J.A. Valley wants a 40 burger, 42-20. He's calling his shot. Gosh darn. A lot of people think that the scoring won't be coming at a premium. I'll believe it when I see it. Justin has 35-17 Ravens. For fuck's sake says 31-27 Ravens. You know I always want to say that on the vault, right? For fuck's sake. But I shouldn't and I can't. Justin Lewis, 35-17. Eli, 28-24 Ravens. Easy Curry. What you saying here? 30-17. Ashley says, I think they could break 30. Ashley, put your name on it. Let's go, Ash. Come on, Ash. I think. That's like, Ashley, what would you do to me? Okay. If I came on this show, on the vault, whatever, Friday prediction show, and I say like the Manny Mexico treatment, right? Well, okay, here's one prediction. Yeah, let me give you a second one, but just in case this happens, and if the sun comes up, and blah, 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 and I give you all those, you'd be hammering me. It would be pitchfork season. It'd be mob season. It'd be on, wouldn't it, Ash? So I got to give you that same kind of treatment. Let's get a score. Put your name on that shit. Come on, Ash. Elect says 23-17. That Ravens guy says 31-17. Shelly says 28-21. Holly, 30-21 Ravens. That's right, Ash. I'm coming for you. Mike, I never call in, Mike. Yes, that's you. 30-24. Major Media, what's up, brother? 29-18. Oh, God. Zayad says 40-3, and the Ravens are going to play Tyler Huntley at the end. That's classic. Kafie Profin says 36-24, and Ashley finally decides to put her name on it, 34-20. Thank you, Ashley. Backed you up against the wall, didn't I? Do not pause me on that one. Chris says 30-24. Wood has 35-17. A lot of people north of 30. How about it? JL Valley says, here's my second prediction. J.A., I got to kick you out for that. We don't do 2 predictions. Come on now. Jeremy says 24-10. I could see something. God, I don't know if I could see New England in that offense without assuming that they don't just go on some sort of like ridiculous streak of turnovers. Just 10 points. That'd be a hell of a defensive display. How about this? If the Ravens hold New England to 10 points, my prediction is going to be cooked. This team's making the postseason. Robo Mojo, 28-17 Ravens, and claims that the Patriots haven't played anybody. You know what's funny, though? When you look around and look up and down the Ravens schedule to date, what is the game that's the highlight win? Like, what's the signature win? Is it Chicago without Lamar? There is no signature win. Could start with a Sunday night one for sure, and then you have an opportunity over the next couple of weeks to add on top of that. Let's see. Luke says, Bobby, learn some Spanish and pick up some Latinas. Been there, done that. I do speak a little bit of Spanish. I used to date a girl from Mexico City, actually, funny enough. We met on a cruise after my semester abroad in Barcelona. Daniela. My brothers called her Danny Bad. True story. We were absolutely in love with each other. This was going back 10 years ago, literally 10 years ago. Daniela. Fun time in life. Yes, it was. Shelly and Tisha and Tila and company are talking about height. I don't know why. I met a girl at this social last night that was taller than me. We followed each other on Instagram after. Oh, I don't know what that means, but we'll see. G Money Bag says the problem is you're looking for love. When you look, don't find it. When you look, you don't find it. Love is something you can't summon. Also, other than morals and just being a decent human being, you can't forecast it. You know, I appreciate that, but I think when you're in it the way that I am, I have a hard time leaning into that. I really do. Because that's what you hear the most, right? That's easily far and away, and it usually comes from folks that are in long-standing relationships, long-standing marriages. And it's just hard to, like, I know it comes from a good place, but it's like, it's hard to truly embrace that and lean into it, if that makes sense. Lane, on top of the other super chat that she threw in, gives me a yas. Is that the way you said it, Elaine? Yas. I think that's how it's pronounced. Tisha says, Bobby, you need to up that age range. To what? I just told you I had it up at 40. Oh, on the bottom of the radius, Tisha? Is that what you're doing? You don't want it at 25? Let me know what you mean by that. Robo has become a channel member. Robo Mojo. What's this cover photo here that I'm seeing? Is it you and your girl? Oh, you guys are looking clean in that. Nice little filter on it. Yeah, you guys are good looking. But wait, Robo, are you the dude or are you the lady? Whatever, you guys look cute together. Shelly wants to know what I'm up to tonight. I don't know. I'll probably take Tilly over to, what time is it? 5:15. I'm going to take her over to one of the local parks, get her some Frisbee tosses in. Got another maybe 45 minutes of daylight or so. So hopefully do that. And I actually just had, oddly enough, I just had a guy that was born in, gosh, where was he born in Baltimore? Not Essex, not Dundalk, somewhere outside of Baltimore County. And he looks the part. He's hilarious. He's a good dude. He just did the exact same thing I did just 2 months later, meaning he got in the car, left whatever he was doing in Baltimore, grabbed his dog, and drove to St. Pete and found a unit through Furnish Finder. And we got together last night. He actually came to the, that's one thing I forgot to talk about in the vault. I did have a running mate last night. He showed up to the gym social, which was nice because I walked into the gym social and I didn't know anyone, which was fine. Like, I think you guys have probably realized by now, one, I'm an extrovert, and two, I like to put myself in those situations. But also when you walk in to somewhere where there's not a lot of room to sit and you're just standing and you don't know anyone, it was like, shit, what am I doing? Zayad, is it Zayad? Why'd you leave Baltimore? You know, it's complicated, but I think in order to put it into one sentence, I was ready for change. And I felt like I built something with Sarah that was sustainable enough to leave and that could still be done remotely, one. And two, what's stopping me from flying back? What's stopping me from flying back for a potential home wildcard game? What's stopping me from flying back to potentially do draft coverage in Baltimore? What stopped me from coming back from the Detroit Monday Night Football game that I came back for in September? Nothing. Nothing stopped me. So I think I was looking for, and still am, a sense of purpose outside of the business that I've built. And because my family is not in one specific place, there wasn't this obvious destination for me to go pursue. And ultimately, every March for the last 5 years, I've been coming down to Florida and staying with different family members and cousins and working remotely. And it was this past March when I was here in St. Pete that I decided to make the decision to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go and I'm going to give this a shot. All my stuff is still in storage in Canton. I do want to shout out, by the way, Morning Star Storage right there in Canton, right past Canton Crossing. They've been kind enough to work with me. And I rent a unit through them with all my stuff that I had in my Canton row home. So shout out them. If you guys have any storage needs and you live in Baltimore City, they're really good, really spacious, clean, easy in and out. It's just a great building. It operates smooth. But so of course there's always a fallback if I'd like to, revisit the Baltimore idea of my life. But yeah, it's strange. I was kind of opening up a little bit earlier on the vault, and I know obviously I'm going down a little bit of a tangent right now, but I'm just kind of searching. I'm yearning for legit companionship. And when you're 31, single, full-time remote, and not being willing to settle, refusing to settle, it's empowering, but it's also overwhelming at times. And I think right now you guys are catching me at a time where the latter of those two is sucking me up a little bit. Just kind of feeling like a little fatigued by the dating scene. That allows you to have some doubt creep in a little bit about various things in life. The holiday season tends to, I think, spur that upon all of us in some sense. Business has been interesting. I think, viewership has been up and down this season because of the inconsistencies with the Ravens. So that comes with its own source of challenges, but you just weather that storm. That's how it goes. And you keep building and you keep moving forward. So just a bunch of thoughts on where I'm at in life and how I got down here. Robo Mojo also writes, forget what they talking about, Bobby. Look and you shall find. I like that. That's kind of my thing. I'm kind of going about this proactively, Robo, and you're right on. That's what I've been doing for, years now. Years. Chef says, I stay around my age, no exception. Yeah, I can't say, with the exception of the 23-year-old that I was seeing. I think maybe I opened up about that a little bit on the vault, but I met a girl through the gym. She's 23. Really sweet. Born and raised here in St. Pete. Obviously, we're in completely different phases of life, but we hung out and got to know each other and spent a lot of considerable time together for probably over a month that I was here. But it just wasn't the right fit. Now, with that said, you guys know I want a family, so it does make a lot of sense to shift the radius, the age gap range on my apps down a little bit, obviously, so that you're not up against the biological clock. Excuse me. Red says social media, toxic feminism, and misandry. What's that? Misandry. Is that a word? What is that? Misandry. Hatred, dislike, or ingrained prejudice against men. Wow. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. It's the antonym of misogyny. Excuse me. Okay. Misandry. Wow. Interesting. I got to think through that. Killed the dating scene. Interesting. Catching up on what you guys have been saying, and somehow viewership count is going up as I shifted away from football. However that works. I guess. Thank you. Should I come up with a Bobby Bachelor playlist instead and just give you that on a weekly basis and forget the football content in the off season? Fuck it. Why not? Sebastian says the vault cookout still needs to get planned. You're darn right that does, for sure. Tisha says, I don't know too many 25-year-olds looking for what Bobby's looking for. Michael, you give terrible advice. What the hell's Mike been telling? Goodness gracious, you're getting body bagged by Tisha. Shit. Dating, look, there's a lot of you that are weighing in right now on the harsh reality of dating in 2025. And I'm not going to lie. It's been tough. Before you guys really knew me on this independent level in this space, I was in a serious relationship during the pandemic through Hinge in Baltimore. And I believe she's engaged to be married here. I think I saw something on TikTok that popped up and I was like, why is this popping up? I'm happy for her. I wish her the best. I would never, ever wish anything ill of her. And she was a tremendous presence in my life. We weren't the right fit. And it was sad to reach that point, especially after 2 years or close to it. But that was reality. But I'm over 3 years removed from that now. I think 3.5. And ever since then, and granted, I probably took at least a year after that to kind of build the business up and focus on me and worry about other things. But then you get to a point where it's like, okay, I feel comfortable, quote unquote, comfortable in my professional life. I feel good with where I'm now living, lifestyle wise. And then all of a sudden it's just like, hey, I got a lot to give. Let me go put in the effort. And that's what I've been doing. But as some of the flakiness starts to take a toll within the dating world, as some of the indecisiveness, some of the lack of communication, the wishy-washiness of dating, modern dating, it takes a toll. And I got my best friend at home. We talk every single day. He's a school counselor in upstate New York in our hometown. Great guy, JV basketball coach, 6'6", full thick-ass head of hair, great guy, very fitness conscientious, dog dad, got all the things you could possibly want, right? Not a finance guy. Some women are I get it. They only want that type of stability in their mind, which I think is short-sighted. But he has gotten to the point, truly, where he has convinced himself, based on what he's seen from our peers, our friend group, or his own dating experiences himself, that he's better off at this moment alone. And he's hell-bent on that. Now, I think the different lives that he and I are living allow him to feel more comfortable with that decision. Whereas myself, he's dealing with hundreds of kids per day, both in the counseling world and in the coaching world. So when he comes home, it's time to decompress. When I come home, I've been home all day. When the workday is over, as it's about to be whenever the show finishes, and after I get off my soapbox, if that ever happens, I'm like yearning for some sort of socialization. I'm dying for some sort of like in-person interaction. So yeah, I'm going to go to the frickin' dog park and try and meet people and talk to people. And then I'm probably going to go out to some local bar alone. But this is like what I signed up for. And I'm comfortable doing that. But what I'm realizing is 3.5 months into this thing, since Labor Day weekend, I've been down here, it's starting to take a toll on me. And it's challenging. Some of the fatigue. And I got to work through it. And I think having you guys, even though it's a virtual relay, I'm serious right now too. Like, sure, there's probably joking in the live chat or whatever. And I like to go back and forth and have my fun. But having a sense of community, even if it is just simply in the Discord group, in Bobby After Dark or whatever it is, spending a couple minutes, a couple times a week in season or a couple times a month, talking about one more thing and it opened up a little bit, it does help me. It does. I've never pursued therapy. It's not that I'm against it. It's not that I'm a disbeliever or whatever. Just it hasn't been something that I've pursued. I can't get past the idea of opening up to somebody who knows nothing about me. Now, granted, I know they're professionally trained to, one, learn about you, and then two, ultimately help fix you, or, you know what I mean, manage you in a sense, teach you. I've just never truly gotten to the point where I want to fully embrace that. I don't know why. I hope that doesn't come across as arrogant or short-sighted or anything along those lines. But my sister and mom, if they had it their way, they want me to embrace that, just for all the different things that I'm going through at this phase of my life. But every time they bring it up, I don't shun them, but I just I look in a different direction. Elaine says, I'm a nurse director and have so many young nurses in the dating scene. You would do good with someone in healthcare. They appreciate intelligent, caring men. You must be intentional about it. Elaine, you seem awesome. You seem freaking awesome. I hope you call in sometime. And your profile photo, what stands out to me, you seem like you have a warmth about you that's comforting, that has motherly instincts. Am I onto something there? Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for the kind words. Joseph Burton 92 says, just make sure you're ready for it, Bobby. You'll meet a girl and it will feel weird because everything will click. Don't think it's too good to be true. Joe, as you know, man, you get to a point in here where you do meet someone and there's interest. And because of modern dating, what's ingrained in us is you don't show that emotion. You don't tip your hand. You don't play your card. Like, it's terrible. That is modern dating. And what it is, it's an inherent way of protecting oneself, I think, because of how cutthroat it's become in the scene. I try to be a lot more genuine than that, though, and a lot more forward facing and wide open. I think you guys know by now I'm an open book, but I do try to protect myself. Viewership is starting to plummet now in the YouTube space, so it might be time to wrap this up. But Joe also says, and date where you are wanted, not tolerated. That I love. Look, Joe, if there's one thing you're going to get from me, and I'm going till the day the cows come home, I will stand on this and always live by it. I refuse to settle. I refused to settle professionally, which is what led me to starting this media venture over the last 4 years. I refuse to settle romantically, which is why a lot of the dates and the ways I put myself out here have come up short in terms of what the ultimate goal is. I refuse to settle just overall, lifestyle-wise. I hope you guys do the same. I think that's one of the best things you can stand on, for sure. Who's spamming the chat? Ziad is now spamming the chat. Oh man, what I miss in the live chat? Anything? Should we get on out of here? Tisha's building me up. Tisha says, Bobby, period. You are a young man with a ton going for you. Let your aura do the work. Ooh, Tisha, speak it, baby. Speak it. Say it louder. Appreciate that. And again, I want to be clear. Not a victim here. Not looking to be propped up. I'm not, it's not a call for help. I'm just trying to be an open book. Maybe help out people along the way in terms of like-mindedness. And, ultimately be vulnerable in some cases. And it helps. It's very, very therapeutic. It is. Linda says, timing is everything, Bobby. Continue growing your business and businesses, and the right mature woman who aligns with you desires will come. Oh, with your desire, who aligns with your desires will come when you least expect her. I like that, Linda. That's been a lot of, trust me, that has been the mindset for years now. But there are times where you hit, somewhat of a standstill, just because of some of the effort that goes into dating, particularly in season, where these are long days and you're fitting in weeknight dates. And it's like, dang, for example, 1 week ago, I'm 1 week removed from a date that was really interesting. And I'll leave you with this. Funny enough, she's from Frederick, Maryland. Smithsburg is the specific town, very small, I think a remote type town, small town living in outside Frederick. And we matched on Hinge down here. She's worked for a children's hospital for years. And we went out to dinner. She looked like a friggin' $1,000,000. She walks in and I'm like, damn, I'm underdressed. She came in with black stockings on, a friggin' painted on practically, not scarf, but mock turtleneck that was black. The skirt over the stockings was real tight. Black boots, hair dolled up, looked like $1,000,000. And we had a good time. Within the first 30 minutes, she was asking me in-depth questions about politics, and that was interesting. But to her credit and our credit, we had a nice back and forth conversation on it, found some middle ground, and both decided that we were going to go to the next bar after dinner. What did we do after that? We went to the next bar. And what did we do after that? We went to a nightcap cocktail lounge where in line, I ran into one of my walk-in talks from September. No bullshit. I ran into a walk-in talk that was just one and done, and she was great. Like, she was a little bit older than me. I don't think she was even interested in me either, and I wasn't either. But we went on a walk and talk, and we've stayed in touch and become Instagram buddies. And all of a sudden, we're sitting in line for the cocktail bar, and I hear, Bobby? And I turn over, and I said, Christine? What are you doing here? And then, so she and Sarah, funny enough, Sarah is with an H, is who I went out with, which that never would have worked to begin with. What are the two Sarahs in my life? That'd be problematic. But they start chatting, and then we walk into the cocktail bar, and I was like, so you want to know who that was? And I was like, I mean, it's a first date. Like, what am I going to lie to her? I'm like, that was what I literally call her. That was one of my walk and talk dates from September. And she actually took it in stride, which was cool. Which is a good time. It's a good test, right? Like, it's a good pass test in terms of how someone, your potential partner, would respond. Is there a level of jealousy? Is there like on edge? No, she just rolled right off her shoulder, and that was cool. Chef, that did not kill the vibe. What killed the vibe for me, and you guys know my preference, and there's this is not a judgment zone. This is just me and my preference. What killed the vibe, very simply, was this. We had gotten to the point in the night where old fashions were flowing for me. Her Hugo Spritzes, or whatever the hell she was drinking, were also flowing with an espresso martini added in there as well. And let's just say that it became like everything's on the table. And some pretty in-depth topics were being covered. And I learned that she was not recently, but in her past, divorced. And you guys know that's where I draw my line, at least for right now at 31 and single. Because where I refuse to settle on one of my personal preferences is as simple as this. And it's not that I don't have empathy for different situations. There was one girl, for God's sakes, there was a girl in Baltimore that I really liked who told me early on in our dating that she was recently divorced, and he walked out. He was a Naval Academy guy, walked out on her, left a note, and that was that. Can you imagine not having closure? And you're married? Oh, I mean, that my heart goes out to those types of situations, right? But until, like, being 31 and single, I am really, really, I want to be fully mindful of one of my preferences and sticking to it. And that is experiencing all those life firsts with someone who's also experiencing those things for the first time. And that to me, while it was so hard to communicate that to my Baltimore date, who had obviously within the last year gone through something horrific in her life, it's just, it wasn't something that I was willing to take on. And Tisha's not happy with me right now. Again, I'm not judging anyone or playing that like moral, or what is it? Moral superiority. Like, this is not what I'm trying to come across like at all. At all. I'm just speaking to you very vulnerably in terms of what's become a key non-negotiable for me in recent years. And the day that changes, I'm going to be open to it, but it's not today. That day is not today. And that's coming from a guy whose parents, and as the oldest of four, I wore the brunt of this, went through their own unique separation and ultimate divorce. And I will go to the end of the earth to ensure that while they did the best for their situation and did right by us as much as they possibly could, I refuse to put my future kids or offspring or whatever. Maybe I'll go down the adoption agency route one day when I can't find the freaking significant other that I want, right? That's been my biggest priority, finding somebody that is as close to the perfect fit for each other so that we don't find ourselves in that situation. And that's where we're at. And hey, if some of you are speaking right now in the live chat from the perspective of a post-divorce situation, then again, this is not to belittle you. This is not to demean you. This is not to do anything other than be vulnerable and open about what my current preference is because of some of my past history and because of what I'm looking for in this moment. And it's as simple as that. It's all that. Dre Dog says that he's suggesting that I've been traumatized by my parents' divorce. You know, it had to do with addiction. Addiction was a big part of what went south in my parents' marriage. And so that is an area that maybe one day I'll get a sounding board type of presence on. So Tisha wants me to let Tilly pick. Whoever she sniffs the longest, you marry. I guess we could both sniff her together. All right, guys. Troy says it's getting too deep, so it's time to shut it down. Let's do it. Elaine, don't be sorry at all. At all. I love talking about it. I love being vulnerable. I love opening up. And the fact that 600 plus of you decided to stick around, I guess you guys didn't mind it either. So perhaps, perhaps in the future, we will make a Bobby Bachelor segment. Why not? I look forward to that. So again, it's all good. Life is good. I'm extremely blessed. I know a lot of you probably feel the same way. Love this community more than anything. Want to say thanks to Preston Automotive Group for the support. Probably going to take tomorrow off. We'll see unless news drops. And then mark your calendars accordingly coming up on Sunday, knowing that it's an 8:20 kickoff. Probably won't be live until the 7 o'clock hour. So, all right. All right, everybody. Appreciate you guys for listening, as always. I hope you enjoy the first halves of your weekends. If you're traveling, travel safely. If you're already spending time with family, enjoy yourselves. And again, seriously, genuinely, I do appreciate this community and the fact that you guys are willing to be sounding boards for me and weigh in with your wisdom, with your experiences, with your takes, with your beliefs. It's cool. It's very cool. And do not take that for granted at all. So there's 90 minutes of content for you tonight. And I will catch up with you guys soon. As always, if you could on the way out, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership today. and I will catch up with you guys later on this weekend. Love you all.